very warm welcome to Mining Review Africa. And today I'm joined by Lomave Sukati of Sandvik rock processing. Lomave, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today. Pleasure.
Great stuff. Now let's start. Can you tell me how the performance of a screen changes over time and the impact that this has on mining operations?
Performance. Okay. Performance is quite critical. So performance for a mining operation typically speaks to about efficiencies. So a mine obviously wants to get the best efficiency they can get, speaks to about cost containment. And we know, as with everything else, we've got your triple P strategy, where it is about the people, the planet, profits. So environmental health and safety is quite key for mining performance. Now, you'd ask, where does screening fit into that bigger equation? So we know that screening is part of your plant processes. So over time, what happens is you see a couple of things happen with the screening. So you get your screening media degradation, which is your wear items on your screen. You also see the wear and tear of components, like humans, obviously components of a life that tears. Now, a couple of things will change during operation, and that is where you see the drop in proficiency. That's where you see an increase in cost, and those are the factors that you want to mitigate to make sure that you still get the performance over the entire life cycle of your screen.
Okay. Now tell me about Sandvik rock processing lifecycle management approach. What is it and how does it benefit your customers?
Okay. So when we talk about life cycle, we talk about the full life from the time we seed a piece of equipment, or a screen rather, in this instance on site, to the time where we actually give it a second life. So unlike humans, our screens actually get to be refurbished and get a second life. So what life cycle solutions and life cycle management is about providing those services that allow the screen to perform to the best of its ability. So what you want is the highest equipment availability and reliability on site, and you also want efficiency because you want to get the throughput in. So what our life cycle management does is it provides certain key things to a mine. So that technical expertise, we do process optimization for mines, where we look at your whole operation and see how we can improve it. We help with preventative maintenance practices, predictive maintenance practices. We assist in the adoption of technology. We collect data. We do inspections. So all of these really build into the life cycle management approach that we have, and that allows the customer to get that extension of life, or really that full life out of their asset.
Okay, now you said it all starts at the beginning, so please explain the steps involved in the original assessment.
Okay, so we use technology. We've got software which we call Plant Designer. So what we do is, in the operation, we need to understand your operation to spec the equipment for size at the start, as you mentioned. So what happens is we look at the plant, we understand the material that you work with, and we load that circuit into Plant Designer. So what you want to do through that is to simulate what currently is on the ground. And through that process, you are able then to have the right size machinery. You are able then to also have fit for purpose processes. So you put in the actual parameters. So we know with site, you've got different material, different abrasiveness. So even the screening media you use is spec'd to that application to give you the best throughput from that circuit. So those parameters get loaded onto the system, and that gets simulated. Now, when you play around with certain parameters, you are able to find that optimal solution, and that's where it doesn't end as a desktop exercise, but you have then our plant certified auditors who then hold the customer's hand through the improvements. So the simulation gets done, And then there is a needs analysis to say, how can we help the customer? How can we work with the customer? And that's where we go over and above just the audit, but also provide training into the customer's organization of how we can actually better manage our equipment.
Okay. Now you touched on training, and my next question revolves around training. What are some of the training solutions that you offer, and how does this help a mining company to reduce downtime?
Okay, downtime. So downtime is a necessary evil, if I can put it like that. So downtime is not always bad. Unplanned downtime is what you do not want. So what our training offering does, it gives people on site and our own internal people that competence to be able to learn and build technical and mechanical proficiency so they can look after their equipment. So we have training where we do on-site training, build up those proficiencies. We also offer above training on technology. How do we help you? How do we provide a digital solution as a customer to be able to see your operation, understand how it is performing, see the application and change course as is required during the production process. So our training offering really covers those different aspects. There's a technical proficiency and also the use of technology and adaptation of that to get the best out of your plant, because you do know that it's through those continuous training, continuous learning, adaptation, upgrades and technology that we get better data, we get better trends, and we can always tweak and we can learn from previous events on where are we. You know, I spoke about predictive maintenance, right? So as we build that competence, we are able then to help the customer predict better what is going to happen. And, you know, with predicting better, you're able also to plan better in terms of your supply chain and really align the entire process on site.
Okay. Now, Lomave, speaking about predictive maintenance, how does regular inspections of equipment benefit an operation?
Okay. So regular inspections are one point, right? So what you want, we said we want to move from, you want to move as a mine from after the effect, maintenance and repair, but rather do preventative maintenance before failure, because what we typically see happens, and as I mentioned, unplanned downtime is what we don't want. So what happens is with the regular inspections, you are able to identify problems. Again, it goes back to the trending. You're able to see fatigue. You're able to pick up on problems before they are catastrophic failures, and the supply chain or the capacity on the mine is not ready. So what we want to do through regular inspections is to maintain a certain level of mechanical availability and reliability of that plant and also the performance, so that we are able to plan proactive shutdowns, give it the second life it needs, etc., etc. So really the regular inspections feed into that predictability of operation and that performance of your equipment.
Okay. One final question.
Okay.
Can you tell us what are the benefits of having formal agreements between mining companies and OEMs?
Okay. So the reason why we have built the framework for these agreements is to show a partnership between the customer and the OEM towards the triple bottom line. What you do want is to make sure that you're looking not only after your profits, but your planet and your people. So this agreement allows us as the OEM to be able to work with the customer towards a common goal. Now what happens is that this agreement allows for the customer to tap into customer OEM resources, the expertise that we have. It allows visibility of operations. It allows, again, I like my word predictability, where we have those constant engagements with the customer. We build that relationship up through this agreement, and we get that relationship where we are able to look and hold each other accountable towards costs, because you want to impact the OEE, you want to impact the total cost of ownership of your asset. So we look each other in the eye and we work together to look at how can we get the best out of your equipment? How can we save on cost? And also, how can we give you better throughput to get your production numbers met? So these agreements we have in terms of performance agreements and also business strategic growth agreements that we have in place with our customers, which give us that framework to work on the back foot of and get the OEM to also be part of your business. Now, the good thing about frameworks is that they're mutually beneficial. Right. It is not just one way. And really, you find that it benefits customers from a perspective of even cost saving. So with cost saving, what happens is as we build data and we build a relationship, you also go back into your supply chain. You are able to feed into your reliability program. So that supply chain, because we know that stock costs money, so you want to have the right parts at the right place at the right time. And it is through that regular engagement that we get better, where you don't have to have a big networking capital. We are able to then provide the service just in time for any maintenance that is required. So I think really that is one of the biggest benefits in these framework agreements, is that predictability. So we can proactively plan from a customer side and from Sandvik side how to support.
Okay. Well, Lomave Sukati of Sandvik Rock Processing, thank you for your insights and thank you for joining us on Mining Review Africa.
Thank you so much for having me.